Perfect. Okay, guys, welcome to the team Zoom tonight. I'm super excited to have each and every one of you on. If you see someone that should, if you don't see someone that should be on tonight, go ahead and shoot them a message. Make sure that they hop on because they do not want to miss all the good stuff that we have. So I'm really excited because our team is just running, Meredith. Like, we are super pumped and excited. And we have lots of people are going for re-ranks this month. We've got some newbies that are going for Ruby, Cindy Bailey, Janae Myers, Crystal, Swanee, Telly Jo Dotson. They're all going for Ruby this month. Samantha's going for Diamond. Kimberly's going for a re-rank. Charlie Lazon is going for an Emerald on her 2.0. I am just so pumped at all of these, you guys. Alexandra Clement's going for Diamond. Miranda Waldorf, Ruby. Kayla Parsons, Ruby. Crystal Childerhouse is going for Double Diamond. Mallory Bryant, Diamond. Sarah Cloutier, Emerald. Melissa McDonald, Emerald. Rebecca Skrupka, Ruby. Nakaya, Shining Star, Emerald. Nicole Craycroft, Ruby. Crystal's also going for Diamond on her 2.0. Oh my goodness, I've got lots more. We got another one going for her re-rank in Diamond. Nicole Cavill is going for Diamond. Ashley Wogelmuth, I'm totally butchering some of these last names. Forgive me, please. Is going for Diamond. Giovanna A is going for Emerald. Jennifer Tilley, Emerald. Jennifer Egg Paget, Ruby. Cindy Scott, Ruby. Jessica Cook and Shannon J, Triple Diamond. Woo! Super excited for you ladies. Brianna Towns, re-rank Ruby, then Emerald. Aaron Elliott, growing Ruby. Joy Hickox, who just joined 2 weeks ago, signed 20 Perks members and brought in 1,500 in volume, is going for Ruby. And then right away after that, Emerald. Danielle Silva's going for Ruby. Sarah Monroe's going for Emerald. Terabot is going for Emerald. And those are just the ones I got right before the call. So we've got some super exciting things going on with our team, and we are making waves with It Works. And so we're really excited. I'm super proud of the leadership on this team. And we've come together, Meredith, and we have talked about some questions that we have, maybe someone on our team has asked, and we would just love your insight. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and have you unmute. You guys, just want to give Meredith a warm welcome, our Chief Sales Officer that is taking time out of her busy schedule to speak and pour into us tonight. We are so excited to have you.
I am thrilled. Thank you so much for inviting me. And wow. Okay. First off, you did great on the names. I feel your pain every Sunday night live. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. But I love all the potential running that is taking place. You guys are going for it. And oh my gosh, 20 new Perks members. Yowza. Fire.
I know, right?
Total
Joy
fire.
hit the ground running.
Love it.
Okay, Meredith. Well, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I know your time is valuable, and we like to really utilize our team Zooms to really pour into our team, get down to the nitty gritty, but we want to make sure that we are utilizing every moment to help encourage and train in the best way that we can. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I have questions. So these ones are going to be from leaders on our team. Many have been in for years. And so one question we often get answered, and I know us as leaders will answer this often and give our own advice on it, is that what is the best way to encourage ladies who are afraid to work once they sign up? They're super excited about it, but then they get started and then they kind of fall off. How do you approach it? Or how do you guide them? And we get that we can't force people, but it also stinks when you see that someone has so much potential. And so, yeah, like, what are some of your tips for how we can best handle that when we're bringing people in?
Absolutely. You know, this is such a great question that I think we always ask ourselves and we go back to the drawing board on. You know, for me, I found when I was in the field, I had to become really crystal clear on a couple of areas. One, setting expectations. As a leader, as the person in the know, and I say it like this because, you know, sometimes you don't feel like you're in the know, but but you have to take a little bit of ownership. However, you also have to have boundaries and set the right expectations, or else the potential of somebody else can weigh on your shoulders and not on theirs. Right. And we absorb it. We absorb it. I mean, how many of you all have brought somebody on? You see the potential. They don't see it in themselves, or they excuse it away, or worst of all, they eventually tell you why your leadership didn't help them advance. Right? Anybody? Like anybody else ever feel that way? Yeah. Or even if they didn't say it, they said it not in so many words, or we implied it, or we see that Stacy's doing awesome at bringing people in and getting them off to a fast start, but I'm not, so obviously it's me. And we start to tell ourselves these lies. Here's what I found that really worked for me in the field. Both times I was in is really making sure I set the clear expectations, but also really understanding why they said yes. So when somebody first came in, I was saying things like this, and you guys will be like, okay, that just, it kind of rolls off my tongue because I said it every single time. I would say, oh my gosh, Stacy, I am so excited that you joined. Listen, I can set a goal for you because I would love to see you earn your investment back right away. But what's the first goal you would like to set for yourself? Like, I was dropping a seed to get them thinking of getting their investment back, but I was still asking them the question of what they wanted. And then I would ask them, great, you want to earn your investment back in the first 2 weeks. We can absolutely do that. But here's then what you will need to do to make that happen. How does that sound? So that would be so many host and posts, depending on the goal that they gave me, or so many reach outs, so many, right? I was giving them a formula. But here's the thing that I would say, we're going to touch base every single day. Like every single day, we're going to touch base because I want to help hold you accountable to your goal. It was never my goal. How it worked into my business was not their concern. That was my concern as a leader. That was only for me to put on my shoulders. And here's the last thing I'll give you on this is that I always made sure that as I was following up with them on a daily, so Stacy and we're going back and forth daily, I might need to tweak and guide them to make sure it sounds authentic to them, to make sure it works for them, tweak their language, right? Those are learning moments. However, I also realized if by about the second or third day, Stacy's not like, she ghosted me, right? She had all the potential in the world. Like, Stacy's a rock star. Can we give it up for your leader right here for a second in the chat? You guys, like, drop a one. She is fire. She is all that in a bag of chips and a snack too. She's amazing. But here's the thing, Stacy, I'm going to pick on you for a minute because you are the leader. But like, Stacy all of a sudden ghosts me. Here's what I would say verbatim every single time, whether that was in a message or to her voice to voice or face to face. If I was seeing that Stacy was like, oh, well, I had to go pick up the kids. Oh, well, I had a soccer game. Oh, well, I had this, or, oh, she's just not returning the O's, but the O factor, right? She's not returning my call. If it was face to face or on the voicemail, I would say, hey, Stacy, looks like right now is not a great time for you. I want to make sure that you achieve your goals. But as of now, it looks like we need to readjust your expectations for what you're going to achieve with the work that
I'm going to go sit in
in.
the van though. Do you want your phone?
Always take your phone with you. But that's exactly what I would say. I am letting them know, hey, you're not going to hit your expected goals. See, it's not my goals. It's your goals. And I was very crystal clear. The more clear we can be about setting the expectations and the boundaries, that it was not for me to do the work for them. It was not for me to be their personal hand holder. It's not for me. Like, I'm going to give them things, but then they got to go take the action. Just like here at corporate, you guys, right? We give you the things, whether you take action with it or not, we can't help with that, but we can give you the tools. And you've got to do the same thing with your team. And I always found that really helped me.
100%. I love that so much, Meredith. That is really good advice. And yeah, you nailed it. Okay. So what is your favorite leadership book and your favorite leadership tip? Apparently, I mean, as is obvious, we have a lot of leaders on this team and a lot of up and coming leaders and a lot that headed into top leadership. And so we would like to know, what is your favorite leadership book and one of your favorite leadership tips?
Okay, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but I always go back to the Bible. Like, I kid you not, it is hands down. If you need vision, it's going to walk you through how to see vision and how to plan for vision. If you need to know how to lead people out of a wilderness, it's going to show you how to lead people out of a wilderness. If you need to understand what it's like to be strong as a woman in a difficult time in leadership, it's going to teach you that. Like, it is the best, hands down, you guys. Outside of the Bible, I can't just pick one, because there are so many incredible books. If you want to learn about influence, Influencer. It's a white book with green lettering. It's a great book. Present Over Perfect. That is a great book for leaders as well, because sometimes as a leader, we get too tied up in, and it's not even a leadership book, okay? It's actually more of a self-development book. But I think it's such a great book for leaders, because sometimes we get so caught up in this being perfect and the Zoom being perfect and the training being perfect and this being perfect. We're not present. And it shows for our teams. And our teams start going, if that's what leadership looks like, I want no part of it, right? There's, oh gosh, I mean, like, seriously, like, you would ask me this, and I'm just like, okay, sorry, I gotta go to my guide here, because I have tons of them in my library right now that I've listened to multiple times. I love as like, okay, you guys, boundaries. I love boundaries. I have read that book probably 5 times and I still get stuff out of it. Atomic Habits. Another great one. Making sure that you guys, anything Malcolm Gladwell, Tipping Point, phenomenal book. Anything Malcolm Gladwell, I highly, highly recommend. Stories that stick. If you want to learn how to share your story, like, I don't think you can ever go wrong with leadership books, but here's the thing that I will warn, because I'm also big on this too. I'm big on the fact that if you learn something in a leadership book or a self-development book or a self-help or the Bible, if you don't apply it, knowledge is great, but knowledge unapplied is a waste of time, right? So you have to learn to apply the knowledge. Like, boundaries was such an eye-opener for me, not just in my business, but in everyday relationships and how I act. It was such a great thing for my marriage, for my family. Like, it has helped me in every aspect of my life. Present Over Perfect, another book that has helped me in every aspect of my life, if I allow it to. So those are kind of my favorites, just off the top of my head. My best tip as a leader, honestly, is you need to know your purpose so well that it drives your passion to be unmatched. Like, you guys, I've been doing this for over 2 decades, going on 3 decades. Like, nothing fires me up more than getting on a call with great leaders like each and every single one of you. Nothing fires me up more than, like, seeing somebody who's like, can you tell me about direct sales? But here's the thing. If I didn't have my purpose written on my heart, talking about it on my tongue every single day, my eyes focused on it no matter what, my ears attuned to hearing it, my steps aligned to doing it, I can guarantee you my passion wouldn't be there. I'd be like, leadership books, relationship goals. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd just be like dialing it in. And if you find yourself doing that, I'm going to challenge you on, do you really know your purpose as to why you're doing this? See, a lot of times in this business, especially as leaders, we get our why I call it my purpose, we get that mixed up with goals, and goals are tangible things that you can go and achieve. It's not paying off your debt. That is not your purpose, right? God didn't put you on this earth to pay off debt. Now, will he help you pay off debt? 1000%. But that is not your purpose for being here. So when you find your purpose, it drives your passion. And here's the thing, I guarantee you get me talking about this, my passion and my energy will take it to another level that I dare anybody to get in front of me and not be able to feel my passion and my purpose, especially if you're face to face. I have told people, if you think you can match me, get up on the stage next to me. Here's the thing I guarantee you can't do, because I know how much this has driven me. This purpose has picked me up from the pit of hell and driven me into another lane that is a lane that is only marked for goodness and great things ahead. And because of that, and because of that energy, I bring it to the table. And so as a leader, we are called to have that energy, because here's the thing, people are drawn to energy. Your team, they want energy. See, if they just wanted a humdum everyday drum beat of the drum thing going on, they can go out there and get a job and not be happy and not be satisfied and not be pushing for greater things like every single person on this call. And don't get it twisted. It's not that you don't need those things. We need those things, but it's got to lead to the thing that drives you, that fires you, that gets you up, that gets you going, and that says, man, and then that is what people are attracted to. So when you say, what can a leader do? Make sure you understand your purpose. Make sure it burns so deep that it almost ticks you off when you waste a day on the couch, that it's the thing that you go, man, I wasted a day and I'm not promised tomorrow. So man, I got to get up and I got to start moving, right? You got to be one of those insane people, because that draws people to you. And that becomes infectious, because people want that energy, because it's not something that everybody is gifted. Can everybody do it? 1000%. But will everybody allow themselves to become that passionate and fired up about it? No. But can you be? 1000%. So best leadership tip, find your passion, find your purpose. And if you don't know, here's one of the greatest quotes out there by T.D. Jakes is, if you don't know what your purpose is, do what you're passionate about. Your passion will lead you to your purpose. And then I always like to take it another step further, because I believe passion and purpose over power and position. You see, I am called to find my purpose, to do it with passion, and God will take care of the power and position. Sorry, I got a little fired up. And I'm not even sorry.
Amen.
A little bit, really.
Man, we could just end it now with that fire. It is so true, you guys. Passion is absolutely contagious. That is what draws people in. That's how you impact lives. And people are drawn to that type of energy. Like, you have to be excited about what you have to offer people, not just when it comes to the business, but what you have to offer them as a person. Why are they going to come to you? So very important. Awesome, Meredith. Okay. So I have a 3-part question. I'm going to ask it in 3 pieces. So how do you help encourage people who say they're doing all the things, but they are not signing or seeing the results? Now, this is people that are saying. I have another part to this question. What do you do to help or encourage people that say that they're doing everything and seeing no results?
Show me what you're doing.
Okay. Show me what you're doing. And then as leaders, we can assess that and make sure that they are doing all the things. Now, the second part.
Hold on one second. You guys, as a leader, if you have somebody who does that, now I'm gonna tell you what I used to do, because I would ask people, how coachable will you be? That was always my first question. They're gonna come to me and say, I'm doing all the things and nothing is working. I'm not signing anybody. I would say, how coachable are you? Show me what you're doing. And by showing me, here's what this looks like. You're going to clock in and clock out for 2 weeks. You're going to write everything. If you're serious, clock in, clock out. I actually recommend all leaders to clock in and clock out. I guarantee you're going to find where you are wasting time. Guaranteed it. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. You're going to be scrolling mindlessly going, oh, I'm just going to message a few people and do a little bit of work. And 4 hours later, and 4 pairs of shoes and a pair of joggers that you didn't even go on there for, purchased, right? And so clock in and clock out. Treat it like a job for a minute. You'll find where they're spending their time, and you'll find exactly what's going wrong with them working. Okay, second part.
That is so good. Okay. So the second part is you have worked with someone for a while. You know they're doing all the things. You are going through conversations with them. You are assessing their Facebook. You're doing one-on-ones with them. They are excited. They're passionate. They're coachable, and they're still not seeing the results that they should be with the effort that they're putting in. What is the advice that you have there? I had a few leaders mention this, and I feel like, I just would love to hear your advice. Like, I feel like something has to be missing is what I feel like when it comes to it. So I don't know, like, what are your thoughts on that?
So I will tell you, Influencer is a great book to help with this, because it's going to help you understand the influence that they are in their circle. Okay, here's what I mean by that. We've all probably thrown parties, right? There are people who can throw a party at their house. Okay, just regular party. Okay, fight night's happening, party. Okay, and they have 60, 70 to 100 people show up. We all know those people, right? Like, you might be that person. You might be like, I love it when that person invites me to parties. Everybody goes. Do y'all know that person? Like, if so, or if you are that person, like, drop a 2 in the chat for me. Be like, yeah, they are sweet. It's amazing. Okay. But then there are other people that maybe 30 people might show. You like question yourselves. Now, no one's dropping anything in the chat. And I said, like, leaders, come on. But maybe it's like you question it. Anybody have those friends where you're like, if there's nothing better that comes up, I'll go to that party. Okay. If you know those type of people, like, again, you can drop a 2 in the chat. But then there are people who are great people, but everybody knows, like, there's only going to be a couple of people. I really don't care for that group. It's not my jam, right? We all know that person. Now, if you know that person, drop a 1 in the chat. Okay. Maybe you are that person. It's not a bad thing, but here's the thing that I used to love to do is I used to love to analyze where people were. So typically back in the day when we did wrap parties here at my old company, when I was in the field, we also did launch parties and stuff like that. I could tell a person's influence within their peer group that they're hitting up based on how many people showed up at their launch party. Nowadays, it's a little bit harder, but you can still start to see with what you're talking about here, like they're doing all the things, they're not getting the traction, their hosts and posts aren't getting traction, their people aren't referring to them. It shows you a little bit of maybe who they are within their circle that they're hitting. So they might need to go outside of their circle. If they are outside of their circle, then you might want to look not just at the content that they're posting for business, how are they acting in other ways, right? Because you got to look at the whole package. And you might need to look and go, hey, we need to think of doing some different things. Maybe they need to polish their online appearance. Maybe they're like all over the place. Like if you go to my Instagram right now, you're going to figure out a couple of things really fast. You're going to see that I am 100% a Jesus girl. You're going to see that I love to travel. You're going to see that I love my dogs more than anything. And I love my husband too, right? Like you're going to see certain themes. You're not going to see me out there typically posting about yesterday's plant that died. Right. I don't even post about my haircuts, so you've also got to look at the whole package of what they're seeing to say, is this whole package appealing? And then you might need to help give them some guidance on how to hone it in a little bit and be a little bit more polished, because even though you don't want everybody to look cookie cutter, people still want to know, like, if I'm going to so-and-so, it is a reliable source. I know that's a touchy one, but listen, we got to call it what it is.
That's good advice. And I like that you referred the influencer book. I feel like that's really important. And for people that are trying to get out of the immediate circle of people that they currently have, the ways to do it are really, you've got to brand, you've got to figure out what drives you, like you said, what you're passionate about, and you have to find other people that are just as passionate about it as well. And so, no, that's really good. the third part, which, yeah, I'm pretty sure this goes hand in hand. It might be kind of a new question, but we have some leaders that clearly have all the tools and resources in their team page, in their team chats. Road to VIP has so many different things. And then we have people that basically want their time outside of these chats and outside of this page because they mute the chats, or they don't want to stay up on what's going on. They've got a, I don't know, busy life. And then leaders are having to like reduplicate multiple times to people that aren't willing to, find things that are really everywhere in front of them type thing. And I don't even just mean, yeah. So, right. And I know even the ambassadors, like we have our moments where Meredith's like, I shared it already. Like I shouldn't have to do this 15 times, like bougie, whatever, but I'm trying to figure out like how we can encourage that.
Yeah.
How we can, and honestly, it's going to develop them as a leader too.
Yeah.
But this was a question from some other leaders, like, how can we encourage them to just stay close to that fire, to get caught up on things when it works for them, so that we're not having to like be repetitive in things that are easily accessible?
Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little thing because I feel like I do a quadrant training that talks about everybody fits in one of 4 quadrants. I know we do the color personality test, but that's different, right? Color personality is telling you who you're dealing with. The quadrant is more about business. And I would always tell people that you're either a low, a low-high, a high, or a high-low. So if you are low maintenance and a low producer, you're probably here for the community. Okay. You need to identify who that is in your team. If you are a high maintenance, high producer, but you're high maintenance, like you're high maintenance, you're calling saying, hey, what's the Zoom? And it's the same Zoom and the same password every week, but you're still asking like, hey, does anybody have the Zoom information? Right? Like if that was you, I'm calling you out. But because a lot of times it's leaders, but it's usually leaders who are so busy at so many things. That's why they're high producers, high maintenance. It's not because they don't care. It's because of the fact that they are so busy in life and they're trying to fit this in. They don't have time. And then there's your high maintenance, low producer. Okay. They too will ask every week for the Zoom information. I like to call them Christine because that was mine. Yeah. She'd call me like 80 times a day. And Christine was a great person. I'm sorry if your name is Christine, but she was a high maintenance, low producer. And I had to learn boundaries with her. And then there's your low maintenance, high producer. These are unicorns. These are the people who are like, they have one call with you and then they're doing their own team page and running their own thing. And they're like, we're just there to be like, how can I help you? Because you want everybody to be a unicorn. But here's the thing. So I put everybody in a quadrant so that I know who's who in my zoo. And that's how I say it. But then I start understanding my boundaries I have to have. And then with my team, I would always say to the high maintenance, high producer, I would say, listen, I know you're super busy. How can I best help you? However, there's something that you're going to do. You're either going to check the team page, you're going to check your back office, or you're going to call customer service before you ask me. If you can't find it, come to me, please. I am here to be a resource, but I also am super busy, right? You're setting those boundaries. If you were a high maintenance, low producer, you're checking those 3 things. And 99% of the time, those are the people who are bugging you the most, that you are allowing them to bug you the most. They're producing barely anything for you, and you are spoon feeding them because you're like, well, they're busy. Well, are they? And here's the thing, with all of the quadrants, my number one thing when they would say, what is the information, was, when you find it, let me know. When you find the information, let me know. I also didn't reply to the text all the time. Stacy will tell you I am not the first one to reply in the ambassador chat because 90% of the time another ambassador is answering the question, or somebody's like, tagged you in it. If she ever sees me say, when you find the answer, let me know, that means the information's somewhere. Go find it. You can self-serve. But we also have to allow them to self-serve. Like, listen, people join to be a part of a community 1000%. They also join to be business owners. And business owners means that you have to treat this like a business. And so it's totally fine to have some type of phrase like, oh, that's a really good question. You know what? If you find that information, can you let me know too? So I'll have it. You're not saying you don't know where to go get it, but you're not readily available, like spoon feeding it. And here's the thing, the more you spoon feed and do it for them, the more they'll expect you to do so. So understand boundaries.
So good. So good. And I also just want to clarify, this doesn't go for like newbies that are learning all the things, figuring it out. Like, I want to make sure all my newbie girls on here know that we're not talking to you. You are still learning. Right. You're figuring out how it works.
Newbies, I'll tell you, for newbies, I would always say this is my go-to phrase. You're going to get me for the next 30 to 45 days, as much as you need me. I'm going to make sure that you know where to go and get everything, so that at the end of 30 to 45 days, you can decide what you want this business to be for yourself. Whether that's a big time leader, part-time, you get to decide. But do you notice how quickly that came off my tongue? It's because that's how I said it every time. I wanted them to know also as a leader, they didn't have any information that they didn't have less information than I had as a leader. We all had the same information at the same time. And I wanted them to know that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Nope, that's so good. Okay, so with that being said, when you are training people, because we are very much about networking, building relationships. A lot of people, like you've said, join this business for the community. Like, they don't realize it at first, but we really have such an amazing culture and community that the paycheck is an absolute plus, but the community is priceless. But when you backing up, because this is kind of has to do with it, but doesn't in a way, when you are training people as a leader, what is your percentage of time going toward training and your team versus your own production in your own business, and why? Because I've heard many different things on this, and I feel differently than what I've heard different people share, probably because I'm very yellow, but I want to know your opinion on that.
Okay, this is such a great, here's the thing, there's going to be ebbs and flows. Okay. There is no perfect percentage except for this. I will tell you as a leader, and guys, in 2018, my team, we were recruiting, anywhere from 500 to 800 people a month, like globally. I mean, I had a team of 5,000 in Australia alone. Like, we were on a mission, right? But here's the thing. I never talked to my team or trained until my business was done in the morning, ever. There's a couple of reasons. First off, whether you're telling them what you're doing or they're seeing it, they're going to know. Like, how will they know? They know. Okay. They know. They know because who I was announcing on the page that was coming under me. They knew for who I was shouting out from my team. Like, they knew. And so I always took care of my business first thing in the morning. Very first thing. I had an accountability partner. She and I loved Marco Polo. We still love Marco Polo. We talk still to this day, almost every single day. But every morning around 5:30, when I was done with my devotional, I was calling on Marco Polo, and I was like, all right, girl, getting ready, going in. And that meant, like, I was starting my day for work. I was doing my follow-ups. I was getting my posts done. I was doing all of the things I needed to get done so that then I could plug into my team. And when they said things like, well, I just don't know when to fit it in, I could say, you know what? I used to struggle with that too. I found, just like this morning, I made sure that I was up at 5:30. I did my devotional, and by 5:45, 6 o'clock, I was plugging in for business. How can I help hold you accountable to that? Would that work for you? Like, I was telling them what I was doing off of what I did. I also had more energy, because here's the thing, you guys, as leaders, and I don't care if you've got one person on your team or 5,000 people on your team, as leaders, if we plug into our team and we are doing all of the team things and all of the team one-on-ones and the coaching and the training first, I guarantee you're exhausted, too exhausted to do your business by the end of the day. And if you are doing business by the end of the day, let's just call it, ladies, what it is. We kind of are moody and we kind of stink at it, right? And no one's going to be drawn to that, because what are they drawn to? Energy. They're drawn to passion and energy. And so you've got to give your best to your potentials, to your newbies. So after I did that, after I did my reach outs and my tasks, then I could focus on my team. And then I'd typically talk to my newbies first. And then I'd go into my leaders. And with my leaders, I had a set schedule with them. Like, we were touching base at certain times throughout the month. I didn't need to talk to them every single day. And here's the thing. I had to understand, like, I needed a business partner that was going to help hold me accountable and not be a gripe partner. There's another word for it, but we're not going to say that on here, right? They're not that griping buddy. Like, no, I didn't have time for that. I was on a mission. I was breaking generational curses and changing lives. So that's what we're called to do. And so I had to keep that focus. And then I would also lean on not just my leaders, but my newbies to train. Because if I had a newbie come in and all of a sudden was taken off and had this crazy energy, but had no idea what the heck she was talking about, y'all, she was getting on a team call and she was training all of us, because sometimes we needed to feel that newbie energy again. So make sure that you're tapping into the resources. Just because you're a leader doesn't necessarily mean all of that weight is on your own shoulders. Like, the community is the great thing, but we have to utilize that community. So that's how I dealt with it. And that's what I would always encourage. So I don't think there's like a 70-15-15 or a 70-10-10-10 or 80-20. I've heard it all. There are ebbs and flows, but the first thing always has to be the first thing, at least in my view.
Such awesome advice. And that's good even for me, being in almost 10 years, to hear, because being a yellow, I go right to helping my people. I mean, I get my stuff done, but I go immediately to helping my people in the morning. Like, that is like, oh man, I don't want them to think I forgot about them. So I do really like that. That's kind of
Trust
also
me,
boundaries
it will keep. But you guys, like, you guys have amazing pages, you have amazing trainings, you have amazing things, like, tag them in it.
Yeah.
Give
exactly.
them an assignment. Tag them in it.
Exactly. We do have all those resources. Okay. Just a few more quick ones and then we'll wrap up. Your best mentor tip, like, as we're mentoring, new people, or mentoring and creating layered leadership, and new DT advice, your best new DT advice as well.
Remember, it's all about them. We cannot lead with our goals ever. Again, like, how wrong would it be of me to be like, hey, Stacy, this is the company's goal. You need to figure out how to fit it into your goals. No, that's for us to know. I think sometimes we get so focused on our charts, we get so focused on what we've got going on, that we forget that when we're mentoring a leader, when we're coaching one-on-one, when we have that newbie, it really needs to be about their goals. And again, we need to make sure that expectations are correct, like making sure that we're listening. A lot of times as leaders, we shut our ears off and we're like, oh, we've heard this before. But let me tell you something. They always leave a little nugget or a clue that I can hang on to. I'm going to share this. I had a leader the other day who called me up and we were having a one-on-one, and she briefly walked me through her story briefly. She had been with us before. She never did anything. Her upline never reached out to her and connected with her. She never felt connected. So she quit. She left for a couple of years. She just came back. And the reason she joined who she did is because the person throughout the last year and a half has just been a friend and listening to her and da, 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 da. And she had started the phone call with, my team's not doing anything. They're not engaged. They're not hitting their goals. And so I said, hey, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. And I said, how often are you connecting with your team and talking to them and finding out about them? And she's like, well, their goals. But if they're not doing anything, I'm not connecting with them. And I was like, so you quit the business because you had an upline that you're being. And she was like, we can end the call now. Thanks. I know what's wrong with my business. And I was like, but had I not been listening and I just tuned out, because it's so easy to know what to say, if you will, when they're like, my team's not doing anything. They're totally, da, 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 da. And she just would have rambled on. I would have missed the nugget of how to help her understand she's actually doing the behavior that she first learned in the business. If she just changes that to what she has now learned and how she's thriving, it'll change what's going on. And so a lot of times we just need to make sure that we're present. You guys, present. We've got to be present in the moments. I know there's a lot of life, but we've got to lay down the phone. We've got to give soul focus. Or if we can't, then we need to say, you know what? Hey, Stacy, can I call you back? I've got some things going on right now over here. Dogs barking, kids yelling, da, 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 whatever. Can I call you back so I can fully focus on you? If we do that, and we lean in, we're going to see a different level of people show up, even our newest person. Because listen, this is going to sound crass, y'all, but no one wants to be a notch on the headboard. Okay. They want to know that you care. Maya Angelou said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. This is a people business for a reason. So that's my best mentoring.
That's awesome. I love it so much. And what we'll just kind of, I don't even know if I want to end it with this one though, but best advice when people feel like quitting or throwing in the towel. And that might mean right away, or it might mean down the road with just encountering obstacles. What advice would you give to someone?
Okay. First off, you need to listen to what they're saying. And here's the ugly truth of it. Some people, they're asking permission to leave. They want to leave. Their heart's not in it. And we as leaders need to recognize, like, if they're sticking around for the wrong reason because they don't want to let you down, that's not the reason to stick around. But I would almost venture to guess we haven't poured in to figure out why they're here in the first place. We haven't helped them discover their purpose. We've glossed over. We've lost the things as to what really happens. You see, and I was hoping we'd get to this because I had this on my heart to share. See, a lot of times, how many of you guys now? I want you to use the chat.
Bro. You just knocked over your fucking soda.
Sorry. Okay.
No
just
worries.
a minute.
No worries. We're gonna mute whoever. Somebody needs to walk elsewhere and pick up your soda.
We're muting. If you hop on here, please mute yourself when you hop on. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's totally fine. But here's what I really wanted to share, and I think it fits here, because how many of you all, when you joined the business, do you guys remember the day you joined? You're like, I'm giving now as a leader, you're like, I gave them money to have people say no to me 90% of the time. Right? Does anybody remember that? Right? It's a true story, right? You were like, I never knew I would get so well at rejection. But here we are. But here's the thing. Do you remember the moment? Now, here's where I want you guys to use the emoji. How many of you all, you were like, what am I doing? But you went to bed and you were laying bed that night and you got a little like zinger because you were like, man, what if? And you kind of let your mind wander into, oh, man, what if? What if? and you just start dreaming just a little bit. Does anybody remember that moment? Maybe it happened to you right after you clicked the button and you were like, oh, I'm going to throw up. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm joining. And if you felt like that, if you felt that little tingle, I want you to drop the fire emoji. Okay. If you felt that little tingle anytime in that process, I want you guys to drop that fire emoji for me. You see, it took me a few days, but I found it. Okay. Here's the thing. A lot of times that little thing, I like to call it the mustard seed of faith, because if you guys go back to, I'm going to go back to the Bible. In the Bible, it says faith the size of a mustard seed, the smallest seed out there, you guys, was used for a reason. Because if you allow a mustard seed to grow, I don't know if anybody of you all have ever looked up a mustard seed, what it does and what it becomes. It actually becomes a massive bush. And a matter of fact, so much so it can stomp out everything in the garden. Now think about that for a second. If you allow your mustard seed of faith, the faith the size of a mustard seed to grow, it starts to overcome every single thing. It pours out of you in everything you do. Your eyes only see with eyes of faith. Your ears only hear with ears of faith. Your mouth only speaks righteous things. Your heart, your steps, everything aligns because it oozes out of you. It takes everything over. You guys, your business has the potential to be like the faith the size of a mustard seed if we pour into that right vision and if we give it life. But a lot of times what will happen, people want to quit, is they had that little tingle and then they went and talked to somebody. Like for me, my family, my mom was like, you're going to do what? And then my best friend was like, oh, are you going to do that little side business thing? Oh, that's so cute. That's adorable. And I was like, I will show you, because I made a decision that God planted that in me for a reason, and no one was going to take it out of me. And I had to weed out my own garden. And some of them I had to move some rocks because it was going to be me watering and making sure the soil was good for me to go out and do it. And I got a lot of notes. I was in my early 20s and it was door to door. I didn't have this thing, and there sure as heck wasn't social media. And I was the crazy lady going around as a 20-year-old knocking on doors, asking them if they wanted to buy something when I joined this company, or when I joined direct sales. And so I had to water my own mustard seed of faith. But a lot of times when people decide to quit, when they're talking about quitting, they have had a lot of people come and trample on the ground where that mustard seed is, and they've had it squashed and defeated. And so I would go back and I would say, can we have a conversation? Because you felt something. I know you did. So let's have a conversation about it, because I want to give life to it. I want to speak over it. And sometimes those seeds have fallen on hard soil, and they're just like, I just need you to bless and release me. Okay. And those times you have to remember, you know what, maybe that was the only time they ever felt a little tinge and it scared them. And that's okay, because it's for somebody else to go till that ground. But at least they know there's other options out there for them now. And we've got to take on that mentality, but then we've got to go speak life to the others, because so often it is so easy to get caught up in other things. And you guys, I also want to call out, it's easy for leaders to become their own weeds in their own garden. A lot of times what we forget, what we speak out of our mouth breathes life or death. There is power in the tongue. That's what the word says. And we need to make sure that we are saying the right, and we also need to make sure that we're not planting weeds in somebody else's garden because we had a bad day, or we had somebody quit, or we had somebody who said no to us, or we just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Because when that happens, we become destructive in somebody else's mustard seed. And so we just need to make sure. So when you say, what do you do? I would first have a conversation. I would have a heart to heart. I would ask them, I want you to go all the way back. Talk to me about that. About maybe 2 days later, what did you feel? But what has been happening in the journey? And start to dissect it, and then come to an understanding of what is best for them. because sometimes holding them in it, it's too much trauma. Maybe sometimes they're fighting with their spouse so much. And I'm not a believer of the fact that we are to cause issues. So sometimes they need to be whatever, but we've got to recognize that, and we got to be okay with it. And we got to say, I'm here for you when you're ready. I'm here. Maybe it's not cancel. Maybe it's take a time out. And maybe it's, you know what, for a week or two, let's clear out some rocks and weeds and let's make a path for this seed to grow.
I love that so much. I mean, we're in the business of pouring into people and being there for people. And I've always looked at this business as a mission field opportunity, as well as a way to bring in extra income and to build relationships and all the things. And so when it comes to even having to have those hard conversations, it shows you care, like whether they're meant to be here or not, you can figure that out by having those conversations. But I love what Sherry Lynn Alcala said at our last ambassador toast in January. She said, sometimes people are here for a season. Sometimes they're meant to be here forever. But one thing I know is that people, if they come in and they're a part of this culture and this community for any period of time, they will leave changed in some way.
That's
and
right.
I totally believe that because of what we have to offer.
Amen.
So Meredith, I just appreciate you so much pouring in to our teams. That means so much to us. If there's anything else you want to leave us with, let me know, but we just appreciate you. I want to thank you so much for taking your time out tonight.
I'm just so humbled. Thank you. You guys, it's not lost on me. I sent out a message and I was like, hey, I would love to like hop on a one-on-one and Stacy immediately was like, you know what? I want this for my leaders. And it's not lost on me how special it is when a leader says, I want you to talk to my leaders. First and foremost, they're saying, you know what? We want to share. We want everybody to be sitting at the table. And not every leader does that. And then the next thing is they're saying that they come talk. So I just appreciate you so very much. I love watching you in the ambassador chat and your leadership style. I just think you're amazing. This team is going to go so far, and I cannot wait to celebrate each and every single one of you. And I hope and pray that there was a glimmer of wisdom within what I said, but no, more than anything, this fires me up. And I just adore each of you for allowing me to share my passion and my heart, because each and every single one of you are my purpose. So I appreciate
Meredith,
you.
thank you so much. You are a blessing to us and such an encouragement. We appreciate you so much, and we look forward to the next time. I hope you guys all just have a wonderful, blessed evening, and let's just continue to work hard. We have, 21 days left in the month. Let's make everyone count, you guys. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.